We are here to talk about drawing dog-like creatures. I wanted to again show you this book that I'm drawing. I want to give everybody credit where credit is due. How to Draw Animals by Jack Ham. He's got several different ways to simplify the animal, and I really like this one best. All right, so first we're going to talk about our drawing order. We're going to draw the body first, which is generally an oval. Head, neck, and ears, which I always do first. Hips and shoulders, which are two heart-shaped shapes. Legs, feet, and hoofed. Of course, back leg has a little bit different bend in it than front leg. And then adding those fur and details. This dog-like creature works with fox, wolf, coyote, lots of other things. Okay. So, we're going to talk a little bit about how they combine these shapes. We've got our oval first. Of course, not all animals look like this. We make adjustments as we go. Each animal looks very different, and you just make a little adjustments. This is your basic shapes. Then we've got our heart shape for our our shoulders and our hips. We've got the legs added, the neck. And then when you're drawing the animal, you add back the distinctive features of each animal, and then you just draw over the lines that you want to keep. Talking about the three body basics, you can see that these shapes are highlighted with shadow. So we have a jaguar, of course, giraffe, cow, squirrel. Let's see, what is number 5? Boar. 6 is a monkey, actually, with looking forward in that way. 7 is a jackal. And 8 is a rhinoceros, which still has the same shape, but in plates. All right, let's start. Today we're going to look at the gray wolf. We're trying to draw a profile because it just gives a lot more detail about the animal size and shape. So we've got a gray wolf. We've got a jackal, or actually this is a coyote. This is a much better picture here. Please go on the internet and find other pictures if you want to see a different view, if you want one running or sleeping. Please feel free to customize that. So here we've got our jackal. And here we've got our jumping fox, which are also welcome to draw jumping. Just had to add sort of different shapes, but you can see that they all have basically the same dog-like shape. Let's measure this head. So we're not going to include the snout. We're going to see how many heads fit. 1 in the neck, 2, 3, 4, maybe a little bit more, depending on the animal. Jackal's head isn't really there, but I can sort of imagine where it starts. So 1, 2, 3, a little bit obviously smaller. Wolf is a little bit longer. Fox, let's see if we can get a different view here. Oh yes. Heather has included excellent fox pictures. Please feel free to draw them a couple of times and then draw them in the position that you want to. So our fox has a little bit more of a rounded head. 1, 2, 3, probably what makes him so cute. So we're going to use these as an example. We're looking at our animal. We're going to first start with that oval shape. Now we want our drawing to be about as big as our hand because we want to be able to include a lot of detail. I'm going to make this shape a little bit more narrow from the beginning than some of the other shapes because these guys are all pretty narrow. Okay, so we know that we can fit about 4, so I'm going to divide this in half. I'm drawing a little bit darker than I tell you guys to draw from the beginning because I want you to be able to see it on camera. We've got about that. So we're going to put our head. Now you can see that these do go up a little bit more than some of the other animals. They go a little bit higher neck, holding their head up a little bit higher than some of the smaller animals. So we're going to put our head up here. So we got this about this size. Okay, and often if we're going to draw a profile, so we'll just draw it to the side. Okay. Again, don't worry about extra lines. Extra lines are not the problem. And then let's just go ahead and add in muzzle. Lots. Often these dog-like animals have a very long muzzle. Okay, he's going to run off my paper, but that is okay. Neck comes kind of a nice slope on all of them. Not a lot of muscles here. They're not big diggers necessarily. Okay, got our head and our neck. So now we're going to add our heart shape. So it's about 1/3, 1/3. Of the way, we're going to add our hearts, and then we can, of course, these guys, you can almost see his muscles here, right? You can see it? This one gets a little bit bigger. So, come down. Now their legs are pretty thin, not like some of the digging animals or the And they're pretty long too. Now all of these are cut off, but I can sort of imagine that they're, let's find one where we can measure. Okay, let's look at this guy. So, how many heads with snout can we fit in legs? 1.5. Let's see. How many heads? We're going to do it this way. Oh, 1.5. Okay, some of them probably have longer legs. We'll see. So how many heads? 1.5. We're about there. Okay, now they're going to have paws though. Paws are very important in this animal. Make them a little bit bigger than you think they're going to be. Have a back knee. We're looking at these back shapes, right? Which means the front shapes come in a little, right? Okay. We can always adjust again. So we're going to draw our line there. Seems about right. Again, different animals may have different. This guy may have got a weird little head here I've got going on. Okay, so you'll also notice this division area here. You can see the muscles there. It doesn't quite go up like a cow or a deer, so it comes straight down. But then this part does, this muscle really does show. And in this wolf too. You can sort of see it even though it's not quite colored. So we'll come up a little bit and this muscle will take over. We're going to draw a heart shape in the back. And here's this muscle, right? And then their hindquarters are a little bit more flat than some of the other animals. We'll come down, go out with our back leg, right, looking at this back. Back leg, pause, very important. You might want to start that a little higher. Always make more lines. Why not? Make as many lines as you can. There's no downside. So this guy's looking a little long, but I think I can adjust it when I finish. And their tail is not high like some animals. It's actually sort of starts way down here. You can see the backbone. Let's go ahead and add in. It kind of comes low and then goes back, right? Then comes the tail, depending on different lengths for different animals. If we want to add that back leg, we want to make sure that it starts a little higher, ends a little higher. Okay. Starts a little up in here. Okay. Now, ears on these animals. You can see that their ears do pass their head. This coyote's got big old ears. That's at least as big as, almost more than half the size of his head. Fox, about half. He's definitely got a rounder head there. So we're going to go up and make this head a little bit bigger. This head is looking a little angular. And so we're going to add our ears. Now you can notice that they're pretty far back. Still in line with the eye, which is about mid-face. We're going to add our mouth. In. Right, we always color in the middle part. That's the part that goes back, right? Eyes go in line, but then it might end up here. Okay. Again, this is just your draft. It's like writing something. You can always erase, but it's not really for correcting mistakes as much as erasing is part of the process. So we're trying to look at 3 different dog-like animals here. So we're getting to general dog. Ears are big on this guy. You always have a front side and a back side. You can add in shadow. Yeah. I'm going to bring this around, make the eyes a little bit bigger. Okay. You can always add shadow to these muscles. Right? Always makes them stand out. Neck. All of these guys have kind of big fur. Okay. Pull his tail off, depending. Fox has a very bushy tail. Very bushy tail compared to the jackal or the wolf. I'm going to make a fox tail, because why not? Okay, we put this other ear back here. Can't see all of it, of course, because it's behind the head, and we're going to, this is the inside. So now we're going to add those last fur details. I might want to erase that so it doesn't get so dark, so I can really see inside the mouth. So I can add something that makes it look more like a dog than a deer. Okay, so if I'm doing the fur, this guy, all of these guys have pretty short fur, so I'm going to make short lines, right? And always going in the direction that the pelt would go in. So maybe when it comes down the tail, it would turn a little diagonal. Then I'm going to make another layer, right? You can see we just make layers on layers on layers, okay? In the end, I'm going to use this coyote. In the end, I'm going to want to go over the lines that I'm going to keep. So number one, I'm going to start the tail up higher, because you can see up in this tail it's a little bit higher. Not as much of a distinction. Turn up here. I'm going to start the head a little sooner, because I think that this guy's head was a little bit off. I'm going to add those ears in. But they're always going to be a little pointed. This one's going to start a little lower and farther away, because it's farther away in perspective. I'm going to make his head a little bit bigger and his snout a little bit shorter. Because I think I misjudged there. There we go. That looks a little better. Add in his mouth there. So that teeth. Eye. Still an almond sort of shape. You can definitely mess around with the eyes. We know how important eyes are. Now, I probably wouldn't have added that line. I was trying to define the head, but I'll just cover it up with fur. I'll use a dark pencil. So you can see that these guys have a pretty big space here before the legs start. This is a big muscle for them. They come down. Let's see if we can see a leg up close. It's important to understand that how many wolves have you drawn? How many dog-like creatures have you drawn? Not as many as you might want. So you can see those legs are pretty thin and pretty long. This guy's legs are as tall as his body, which is about right. Okay, and their paws are a little bit less, depends on the dog, of course. So you can also make a lighter line when you're doing the extra. Knee, right? Come up in here. Look at this wolf again. So these legs are a little bit fatter on the wolf. Come back around, go up and down. See how this line goes up and down. Okay, this leg is starting pretty soon here. So this leg is the back leg, so you don't have to worry about that. Coming down. All of these legs are hidden or looking in the front. I love to look at images. Go and look at more images. You can always learn something by looking at a different view of the same animal. I've got that ankle's a little bit higher. And this is a little bit thinner and more delicate than you'd imagine. Right. This is going to follow that too. It's going to stop a little bit shorter. Okay. Got our big bushy tail, our fox. They have your basic dog. Again, I probably wouldn't have put this line in there, but go ahead and add some fur to it. Maybe this dog's going to have more of a black collar like this wolf coming up more here. Okay? You can add in patches, different colors. All right, add dark areas before you go back and add the light. All right, there you have it. Dog-like wild animals.